The fight between John Deere and President Donald Trump is starting to get even worse. In recent months, reports have surfaced that John Deere, the iconic American brand for farming equipment, is shifting portions of its production to Mexico.
Just back in June, John Deere announced that they were relocating specific production lines to facilities in Mexico. Now, Donald Trump disagreed with this decision and left a significant threat that would ultimately affect the company's bottom line.
And even transitioning to fully autonomous tractors. This move is part of a larger trend across multiple industries, where rising costs, labor shortages, and global competition are pushing companies to look south of the border and even cut the human element out of farming.
A roundtable where farmers and manufacturers expressed their concerns about the farming industry.
John Deere isn't shutting down entirely in the US, but some of its manufacturing, like tractor cab productions in Iowa, has already started transitioning over to Mexico. This didn't sit well with Donald Trump. The president, who made American manufacturing a cornerstone of his campaign, has taken a direct aim at companies moving jobs overseas. And John Deere is now on his radar.
Every policy in the Trump agenda is designed to bring the jobs and wealth back home to America, where it belongs and where it's going to stay.
Trump has called out what he sees as corporate betrayal, arguing that companies like John Deere owe their success to the American workers and should reinvest in US soil, not foreign labor. So what does Trump plan to do about it? Well, he's laid out a few blunt strategies. Trump has repeatedly suggested that he would impose very steep tariffs, some possibly as high as 200% for John Deere.
It's hurting our farmers, it's hurting our manufacturing.
Trump laid out another part of his economic agenda, saying he would put a 200% tariff on John Deere imports if the company moves production to Mexico as planned.
That means any John Deere tractor made over the border could see a significant climb in cost as it reaches the border to cross into America. Trump has hinted towards more aggressive tax breaks and even penalties, depending on if companies stay loyal to American workers. Say what you want about him, but Trump definitely knows how to turn up the volume. His spotlight on John Deere could affect their public image, especially in rural communities where buying American is more than a slogan, but a way of life. As for John Deere, the company insists that it remains committed to American manufacturing. But for critics like President Trump, partially committed isn't enough. This fight is bigger than tractors. It's part of a broader economic debate. It's about what it means to be an American company in a global economy. Should loyalty to workers outweigh the pursuit of lower costs? And what role should government really play in this decision? For Trump, the answer is clear. Punish offshoring, reward American manufacturing. But critics argue that globalization is here to stay, and aggressive tariffs could backfire, raising prices for consumers and triggering a trade war. Trump's stance on companies like John Deere may become a test for his economic platform, and just how far America is willing to go to bring jobs back home.
Deere & Company is responding to President Donald Trump's threat to put a 200% tariff on products the company tries to sell into the U.S.
One thing's for sure, this isn't just about steel and rubber, it's about the identity of American labor. And this ride is just getting started as John Deere is also transitioning to fully autonomous tractors. This move to fully automated machines could put every farmer out of business, have small farms bought out by corporate interests, and change just how we get our food in America forever. In the fields of America, a revolution is underway, led not by farmers in overalls, but by machines that drive themselves.
First, earlier this week, John Deere revealed a fully autonomous tractor that they say is ready for large-scale production.
There are only 20 autonomous tractors in the United States.
Hit our auto button, start autonomy, here it goes.
At the center of this transformation, a company we all know very well, John Deere. Once known simply for its green tractors, John Deere is now pioneering the autonomous age of agriculture.
Yeah, welcome to the booth here. Showing a lot of autonomy, our new autonomy applications.
And while this innovation promises greater efficiency and sustainability, it also raises critical questions. Are we replacing farmers? Who benefits from this AI farming revolution? And who gets left behind? Let's begin with the current state of agriculture in the US. The average American farmer is nearly 60 years old. Nearly half of them will retire in just the next decade, and fewer young people are taking their place. But why? Well, farming is hard, risky, and increasingly expensive. Labor shortages are reaching crisis levels. Migrant and seasonal workforces are dwindling. Add climate volatility, rising costs, and pressure to feed the ever-growing population. All that mixed together and you get an industry on its edge. Modern farming is no longer sustainable in its traditional form. Innovation isn't a luxury, but now it seems like it's just becoming a necessity. But that necessity could come at a devastating cost to the American farmer as we know it. John Deere has always been a symbol of American American culture since 1837. Its tools have helped farmers do a lot more with a lot less. But over the past decades, John Deere has evolved from a hardware manufacturer into what seems to be more of a technology-based company. They're not just selling tractors, they're selling agricultural intelligence, robotics, and connectivity.
Never in my life did I expect an autonomous tractor to exist. Being able to control a tractor from my phone it's like, future of autonomy is just gonna explode.
Their goal is bold, to fully automate farming. This isn't just about replacing labor, it's about transforming how farming works. Autonomous farming refers to equipment that can perform key agricultural tasks like planting, plowing, spraying, and even harvesting. All of this without direct human control. Imagine a tractor that knows when to plant, how deep to plant, and even what speed to travel, all based on just real-time data. Imagine drones monitoring crop health and relaying all that back to a centralized AI program. And guys, this isn't science fiction, this is happening right now.
Once the tractor is running and you map out your field, you can start and stop it on the John Deere app.
Start it, you stop it, you can call it to different points, you can adjust the tillage tool straight from the app.
GPS, machine learning, and sensor fusion make all of this possible. These machines actually see their environment, they make decisions, and they even improve over time. This means consistent, around-the-clock productivity. Machines, they don't get tired. They don't need, 5 cups of coffee. They don't make emotional decisions, and they don't take sick days. But even with that, the question arises, is it truly a good idea to replace human farmers for machines? In 2022, John Deere revealed its flagship autonomous tractor, the 8R.
Welcome to a new dawn in farming. John Deere Autonomous Tractors. A tractor that not only thinks, but also sees. A new dawn in agriculture has arrived. John Deere Autonomous Tractors. Farming reimagined. Farming elevated.
It looks like a traditional tractor, but with one major difference. It doesn't need a driver. It uses 6 stereo camera pairs and advanced machine vision to navigate, detect obstacles, and make real-time decisions. It's like the robot vacuum cleaner of the tractor world. The farmer doesn't sit in the cab. They monitor operations simply from a smartphone or a tablet miles away from where the tractor actually is.
John Deere Autonomous Tractors offer tech solutions for today's farmer.
This machine can also operate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. During harvesting season, that uptime can mean the difference between profit and loss. In fact, just one 8R tractor can replace multiple workers during peak season. But John Deere's innovation isn't just mechanical, it's digital. Their real power lies in precision agriculture. Each piece of machinery collects vast amounts of data from soil composition, moisture levels, plant health, and even weather patterns. This data is analyzed by machine learning models to improve planting density, fertilizer timing, and even pest control. It turns farming into data-driven science. Pretty soon, you're going to need a PhD just to farm your corn. This kind of intelligence allows for micromanagement of fields, which allows planting different seeds in different parts of the same acre based on soil microclimates. It's no longer about how big your tractor is. It's now about how smart your system is. So apparently now, size doesn't matter. Intelligence by AI does. So how does this affect the farmer? In some ways, it empowers them. Managing thousands of acres becomes more feasible with fewer hands. It reduces guesswork and increases yields in your crops. But it also redefines the skill set. Today's farmers must be part data analyst, part IT technician, and part logistics coordinator. Traditional knowledge like reading the weather by smell or predicting yield by sight gives way to analytics dashboards and remote control apps. It's a complete cultural shift. A new generation of farming is emerging, one that farms with code.
It was more traditional in the way that we farmed. I said, there is no way. Some of the Deere guys came down, they said, well, we'll prove you wrong. And they did.
This leads to that difficult question, are we replacing farmers? That answer's a little bit complex. Autonomous tractors reduce the need for manual labor. Seasonal jobs already dwindling will likely vanish in many regions. Yet, we're not eliminating the farmer, we're simply evolving the role.
This is exciting. I think it's going to be exciting for the entire farming community. Autonomy will change how we do things in farming without the complexity of having employees. I can make that tractor go where I want it to go for my reasons.
There will be fewer workers per acre, but more highly skilled professionals managing more complex systems. It's not the end of farming, we all have to eat, but it is the end of farming as we've known it. There is a troubling implication here. That's going to be cost. These machines are very expensive. A fully autonomous setup can cost hundreds of thousands and even sometimes millions. Who can afford that? Not the average family farmer. This opens the doors, unfortunately, for corporate consolidation. Large agribusinesses will buy out the smaller corporations, they'll scale up, and then they'll end up dominating land use. We're already seeing this trend accelerate with automation speeding up. Farms don't stay family-owned small operations. Farms are now going to become mega facilities, run by fewer people and owned by fewer entities. So automating the farming industry, is this going to cause a monopoly where big corporations come in, take out all of the family-owned farms, and then they monopolize our entire agricultural industry? And what happens to rural America? Farm jobs are the backbone of many small communities. If autonomy cuts labor, those communities as a whole lose income, population, and their purpose. We risk a hollowing out of rural regions where Main Street shutters and schools begin to shrink. Economic disruption may outweigh technological progress unless we plan for reinvestment and new training to keep these farmers in their job using the new equipment. On the upside, autonomous and precision farming can be a win for the planet. A lot less pesticide use, lower diesel emissions, better water management. Machines don't just make farming more efficient, they make it more sustainable. They can help us combat climate change, if you believe in that sort of thing, all while feeding a growing population of this world. The careers of tomorrow won't all be in the field. We will need drone operators, robotics engineers, software developers, and even agricultural tech troubleshooters. The farms will become more of a hybrid space, part biology lab, part data center, and part logistics hub. This means we must rethink agricultural education, training the next generation in soil science and in software. John Deere's long-term strategy is about more than just machines. It's about building an integrated digital ecosystem. Every tractor, every sprayer, and every drone will feed data into some sort of central intelligence. Farms will be optimized not just by humans, but by an algorithm. Though I kind of wonder if we should really be trusting our food to an algorithm. We have to think of it like the iOS of agriculture. It's an operating system for the entire food chain. They're relying so much on technology to feed us. I'm not sure how I personally feel about that. Let me know how you guys feel about that in the comments. So one of the biggest questions I have, who owns that data? What happens when few corporations control the machinery, the software, and the entire cloud infrastructure for the world of farming? We face serious questions about digital rights, food sovereignty, and monopoly power. Policymakers really should get caught up on this before innovation outspaces regulation.
When I started farming, there basically was no technology. I really never thought I would see an autonomous tractor in my farming career. On farms, labor is always a challenge. Autonomy will help because we will be able to put a tractor out in the field and let it run for 24 hours a day.
In conclusion, the rise in autonomous farming is a technological leap, but also a societal turning point. It offers solutions to urgent problems, but it also creates new problems and new risks all on its own. We really must shape this future wisely because at stake is more than efficiency. It's the entire identity of the American farmer, the health of rural communities, and the entire sustainability of our food system. In the comments, let me know what y'all think. Do you think they're taking AI too far by making autonomous tractors that are going to take over for the place of our traditional family farmers? How do y'all feel about the risk that they'd be taking letting machines take over for our food? Not really sure how I feel about this. I would rather trust it to the hands of a farmer and his family who've been doing it for decades rather than an algorithm. We all see how our phones mess up, how AI isn't always right. So what happens when AI messes up on our food system and it's not caught by a human? All that food goes out into the public, and then what happens? Let me know what you guys think. If you like what you see today, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. We'll see you next time.